Hi, and welcome to the Soul Alignment Podcast, where each episode brings us closer and closer into alignment so that we may move with purpose. So, today we're going to be talking about Christ consciousness and how that is the embodiment of what soul alignment looks like. So, I decided not to use my mic today because I don't want no interference with my live, and hopefully, my signal is good enough where I can get through this podcast live. So, um, first, I want to start out just by coming to Christ consciousness and what Christ embodied. And it's something that I always admired when I was in Christianity was just how he moved. And one of the things that stood out to me the most was how he knew who he was and what his sole purpose was from early on. And it's what I talked about in one of my other lives is just remembering how we were born knowing, right? When we come out, like nobody teach us how to drink a bottle or how to latch on to our mother's boob and drink milk or to know that's where your food is coming from. Like nobody teaches you that. You come out knowing that. So that knowing is within everybody when we're born. And so the thing that I admire most about Christ is his knowing. Nobody could tell him who he was. He knew who he was. He knew that he had direct, he knew that he was, he knew that he had that direct connection to source or his father, right? So that source, the divine. Um, he knew that. Like nobody could tell him that. So from very young, we can see if you know the story of Christ, you know that from the beginning, like he knew very early on, and he always went to where he was guided to be. He trusted that intuition. He knew that, hey, this is where I'm supposed to be at this time, very young. And so that is what soul alignment looks like. It looks just like that. It's that inner knowing, being in alignment with your soul is moving with your soul's mission, the things that your soul came here to experience. And that's good and bad things, right? Um, One of the things that I was discussing with one of my coworkers is he already knew all the things that was going to happen, right? He knew that it was destined for him to die. He knew that Judas was going to betray him, but that didn't stop him from having a relationship with Judas. So a lot of times in our life, we are trying to avoid connections because we don't want to be hurt, or um, I'm not gonna be friends with that person because I know they don't like me. But you never know where your lessons are coming from. And so when you're in soul alignment, you're not trying to avoid the Judases in your life because you already know there's a lesson, right? We're learning from everybody, good or bad. Like I said, in his walk, he already knew these things, but he was destined to walk that path. No matter how heavy it was, he knew that he could not avoid what he came to this earth to do. And so that's what we have to tap back into. That's what we have to align with is our soul purpose. Like every soul come here to experience life different. So you have to get into alignment with who you are and know what is your soul's mission, right? So you're not trying to avoid your lessons. Even when they're heavy, you know that, hey, I know this sucks, but this is where I'm supposed to be. So we're not trying to avoid it. We're going through it because we know, we understand You don't always know like exactly what's going to happen, but you just know internally that, damn, I'm supposed to be here. Like, this is heavy, but I know it's with purpose, right? So for an example is when I was in my marriage, it was very heavy. And I was praying and asking for guidance, like, show me, is it time to leave? You know what I'm saying? And when I got that no, I stayed because I knew what I needed, I still hadn't completed. So it's in that knowing, and that, like, I just love that. Like, that's one thing I loved so much when I was in a religion, and I was looking at that and I was like, dang, people are really missing it. Like, I kept saying, even before I went in a religion, I was like, they getting it. Like, they ain't understanding what this is. Like, he said, you can do these things and more. Is when you embody that Christ consciousness is being in alignment with your soul. That's what that is. And so every mission looks different, right? Some people come and then I'm understanding that that's why he was able to connect with people the way he did. So, right, going out and being with the drunks and the prostitutes, because he understood that that was those people's soul mission. So that's why he was without judgment. That's why he was saying, he without sin cast the first stone. Because we all have things that, we're struggling with. It just looks different. But we live in a world where we want to try to condemn and make people feel bad, saying, oh, your sin. And I don't even like, using that word, but your sin is worse than mine. You know what I'm saying? No, a sin is a sin. A sin is a sin. If that's the word that you want to use, that's what it is. So coming back to that, Christ consciousness is coming back to knowing what your soul came here to do. It's not looking outside of you saying, oh, I like that over there. Like, I want to be a rapper, or I want to be a doctor because they make the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew he didn't need the gadgets and the material stuff. He didn't need the building because he knew who he was. He knew, hey, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what this looks like. This is what it looks like not to judge and understand that, oh, this soul came here to experience this, and I know that might be real heavy. So let me just connect with them. Let me be present with them. Let me let them know that they're not alone. It's not about being perfect. They showed how, he embodied his human experience, but he knew he was in alignment with that soul purpose. So when, I can't remember who it was that passed away, but they said that he wept when that person passed, which was showing that he was human. He felt that. He felt all the judgment, but he didn't let that stop him from doing what he came here to do. So I'm here to tell you today, like, don't let nothing stop you from doing what your soul came here to do. People gonna judge you. People gonna cast their stones. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna try to talk you out of it. They're gonna try to tell you wrong. They're gonna try to tell you, oh, they may try to tell you, girl, you can't be talking to God because you ain't doing this. That ain't divine. That ain't, you ain't moving with purpose. But who are they to tell you what your soul is telling you? When your soul is speaking to you, it may look different from what anybody else is doing. You're gonna meet people where your paths are gonna look similar, but they're still very different. The way you experience something may be totally different from the way somebody else experienced it. But you just have to trust your process. And so I've been asking the question, like, who was I as a kid? Because I want to remember. And who am I? Like, what did I come here to do? Who am I? And I was shown how I embody that Christ consciousness. Since I came here, like, I always knew, I've always had this knowing that I don't need nothing and nobody to connect me to the divine source. Like that lives in me. I knew that very early on. And then they began to show me how, even from early on, just things that I knew as a kid. And like I was shown like just Jesus growing up, and um, I think he was off in the synagogue or something, and his mom was looking for him. And she's like, "Why did you run off?" And he's like, "I'm doing my father's business," or something like that. And it was like, dang, like he knew early on, like, look, you thinking I'm supposed to be doing this, but I know what I came here to do. And a lot of kids embody that early on. Like it's like they know, but us as parents, we want to tell them, like, you don't know what you want. You're a kid. Like that's the things that we say, but as kids, we're closer to that connection. And as we get older, we get farther and farther away from it, from the things, the projections, and the things that we go through, the traumas, all of the things, the pressure of the world telling you, oh, it's supposed to look like this. So we kind of stripped that away from them as kids, like it was stripped away from us. So we just constantly repeating patterns. Another thing was, I was talking to my mom, and she was just constantly going on about how her sister, how she wanted something for her sister, and her sister kept saying, I don't want that. And I just told her, I said, hey, you are trying to force her to do something that she don't want to do. Clearly, she keeps telling you she don't want that. So she know her, she's listening to what her soul is telling her, but you trying to force onto her what you think she need. You trying to force onto her what you think your mom and your dad would have done. So this is a cycle that you keep repeating. And then you get mad because people are not listening to you, or people don't want to take your help. And so as I was telling her that, I was like, it doesn't matter who it is. Mama, daddy, sister, brother, cousin. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Those titles don't matter. And you keep trying to hold on to these titles, but that don't mean nothing. If people don't want your help, then respect that. It doesn't matter that it's your sister. The title don't mean anything. And then it brought me back to, and when I hung up the phone, I felt like, dang, was I being harsh? Because at the end of the day, it's been many times that I've been shown to do something. My mom know, like, what you're saying does not matter. I know what my soul is telling me to do, and I'm going to trust that. So I had to walk many paths alone, not caring what nobody else thought or said. Like, this is what I know, this is my truth, and I know this is my path. So it reminded me also, when I was questioning myself about if I was harsh, or, you know, if I was wrong in what I was saying, and I was reminded of when Christ, I think they was having dinner, and somebody told him his mom was looking for him. And he said, who is my mother? Who is my father? You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew exactly what he had to do. And when it comes to you following your soul's path, it may take you away from everything that you knew. It may take you away from what your mom is saying, what your dad is saying. They may think they know what's best for you, but you know that your soul is saying, nah, that ain't it. Go this way. And you have to trust that and follow that. So it's not always easy to trust that when you're afraid to let go of the attachments of the titles of these earthly families, right? Oh, that's my mom, that's my dad. Oh, that's my aunt, that's my grandma. When you trust in that soul alignment, some of our paths are detaching from those things. It's knowing that those titles are not greater than what our soul came here to do. And that's not always easy. So some people choose to stay stuck in cycles. Some people choose to stay stuck in these dynamics of these titles. And so their soul is dying, really. It's suffering. It's considered as lost souls because you forgot your mission. You forgot that, oh, when you came down here, They're going to say to do this, but this is what we came here to do. And everybody's not going to understand. So it's coming back to that Christ consciousness. I just love it. Every time I think about it. When I first came out of Christianity, I was mad. I was like, you mean to tell me, like, y'all showed me all that to show me that it wasn't real? Like, what? And then as I understood what it all was about, and that everybody is experiencing different paths. Like when I came out of Christianity, it was annoying in me that knew I had already experienced other religions before, because I already knew, like, nah, they all have some truth, but there's truths and lies mixed together. And it's up to you to determine what that truth is for you. Right? So when you're questioning things and when something don't feel right, trust in it. But Christ consciousness is the embodiment of soul alignment. So your soul may come here to really experience Christianity in its fullness. And I always come back to that because that's what I know for this lifetime, right? That's what I experienced. Some people have come to be Jehovah Witnesses or Muslims or Buddhists. Some people come to not experience no religion and just be wild souls, as we would call them. You will see like the prostitutes and the drunks and all these people, like we're wanting them to change, we're wanting them to get it, and they're just not getting it. And so you constantly fighting and battling, trying to change people who may have come just to experience that, and that's something that's hard to accept. It's hard to accept that, oh wait, that's my mom, like I love her, like I don't want to see her suffering, I don't want to see her, continuing to struggle with this alcohol, but they keep fighting against you like it's draining, it's sucking your soul because you trying to change what they came here to experience and you're missing your whole lesson. So it's really just coming back to your heart, coming back to your knowing, coming back to you, and trusting the process. And when it's time to let go, you have to let go. You can't be afraid of change because change is inevitable. Like that's what we came here to learn and grow. So when you're coming into alignment, you're going to be learning and unlearning things. You know what I'm saying? It's knowing when to let go when you begin to see that you may have been guided somewhere to connect with somebody, but you wasn't meant to stay there. Another important thing too to take away is just that judgment piece and having compassion. Like you can see somebody struggling without judgment, like you don't know what you have for them. But if you're afraid or you judging, you like, oh nah, I ain't talking to them. Or the homeless people standing on the corner begging. And you're like, oh, they can go out and get a job. Maybe their sole mission was to come here and experience that. What I'm saying is you don't know. So just have grace, just have compassion. But you're only able to do those things when you're able to do those things for yourself. What I'm learning is you can't pour into somebody what you're not pouring into yourself. You can't do for somebody what you're not doing for you. So if you don't have grace for yourself, if you don't have compassion for yourself, if you don't have self-love, are you really genuinely, unconditionally loving somebody, or is it based on a condition? Or what they can do for you, or, you know what I'm saying? Your love is based off of that. And when they ain't moving accordingly to what you think they should be moving, then you want to pull your love back. You want to make them feel like they owe you something. So that is an example, a really good example to just watch, to see what that soul alignment looks like and beginning to tap into that. There are so many examples around us. You probably connecting with people every day who's walking in their soul's purpose, walking with purpose. Let me take that back. Not walking in their soul purpose, but walking with purpose because they're in alignment with their soul. You connecting with people like that all the time. It's people who are not trying to convince you of their walk or their beliefs. They just living it. They connect with you. They're showing you unconditional love. They having compassion for you where you are on your journey because they know there is nothing that they can do to change you. The change is gonna come from you, but they're being there, they're being present without judgment. They're holding space for you to be who you are. They may give you advice, but they ain't trying to force nothing down your throat. They're not trying to spoon feed you. They're allowing you to be and have your experience and knowing when to back off, knowing when to walk away. That's what that's like. I love story though, because how many of us are trying to avoid the Judases, the fake friends, the fake family? You're like, they fake. Oh, I'm not gonna allow myself to be hurt again. So I'm just gonna close my heart off and not make connections. You only hurting yourself. Because everybody have something for you and you have something for everybody that you connect with, whether it's a good or bad experience. The bad ones we don't always know in the moment, but just remember, Christ was not trying to avoid Judas. He was right there. He ate dinner with him and he knew. He said, you're going to betray me. So just think about what that feels like to be in alignment, right? And you meet somebody and you know intuitively that this is not going to be a long lasting relationship and this person probably going to hurt me, but I'm going to be present with this experience because I know that there's something here for me. And when you're in tune, you know when to walk away. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that. It's when you know not to entertain. Like, nah, no, that's not a lesson that I'm supposed to experience. So you don't even entertain it. But trying to avoid it, that ain't happening. Because you're gonna have those experiences one way or another if that's what your soul came here to experience. So that is the beautiful message. And Christ consciousness is what soul alignment looks like. Is knowing your soul's mission, the good and the bad. Is knowing that I'ma die, but I ain't about to live my life in fear. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you may get annoying or a prime time like, oh, I don't know why I have this fear that, I'm gonna pass away in a car accident. And this is just an example, right? And then you say, oh, I'm never gonna drive, right? But who's to say that you're driving? Who's to say that you're driving that car? You can be the passenger in somebody else's car. You can be on a bus. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is don't try to avoid the thing that you know is destined to happen because you don't know what that's going to look like. So you can't avoid it is what I'm saying. To say, oh, I'm never going to drive because I have this knowing that this is going to happen will be crazy. Because who's to say that you're driving that car? So then you never learn how to drive. Or maybe you say, oh, I'm never going to get in a car with anybody. Like, I'll just take the bus. All right. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you can't avoid what is destined on your path to happen. Because if we could, we would be avoiding a lot of things and we would not be learning and growing. When I was younger, I used to always say I never wanted to get married. Like, I was not that girl who dreamed of being married or having kids. Like, that wasn't me. I always tell my cousin, like, hey, you always wanted this. And I don't understand how I got it and you didn't. This is not my story. This is yours. But now I know why I said that. Because it was hell. But I discovered the best parts of me in it. But now that I'm thinking about it, like I said that so young, I was like, nah, I don't want to get married. It was like intuitively I knew what I was gonna experience, but I didn't remember. But I'm saying it so early. I don't want that. Having kids too, like being a mom has been the most challenging for me, but also the most rewarding. And again, I've learned the most valuable lessons to help me to grow and evolve into this person that I am today. But those were two things that I did not want because I knew, but I didn't know. I mean, I knew, but I didn't know. Consciously, I couldn't remember, but it was this knowing of like, damn, man, that's gonna be hard. So I want to avoid it. I don't want to do it, but I couldn't avoid it. It happened, you know. So yeah, that is what soul alignment looks like. So coming back and remembering just who you are and what you came here to experience. I was talking to a coworker and it's so funny because he was like, I don't have a soul, queen. And I said, you have a soul. It may be a lost one, but you have one. And it made me think about the movie Soul, where they showed the lost souls and how they did like a trance type thing for the soul to go back to his body. And when he came back into his body, he was sitting at the computer and he jumped up and he knocked the computer down and was like, what am I doing with my life? And I'm like, that's what it's like for so many of us. We're detached from our soul and we're just stuck in these situations that you were never meant to be stuck in for so long. But we got comfortable, and we got scared to move. So it takes somebody to maybe come and just plant a seed just to remind you, to plant a spark in you to remember. Oh, somebody may come plant a seed, somebody gonna come back and they gonna water it. That seed begin to grow and then you begin to recognize like, man, like what am I doing with my life? I know so many of us have had those moments in time where we said, what am I doing with my life? And after saying that, we don't do anything different. We decide to just stay there because it's comfortable. But it's in those moments that you have that, what am I doing? Why am I here? That's that moment in time where your soul is speaking. So if you just lean into that and go within, it'll show you something different. But you can't be afraid to let go of what you're comfortable with. You can't be afraid of being uncomfortable. So that is it. Like, yeah. I'm just still just admiring that because I'm like, wow, all this time, like I've known this. And even when I was lost and felt like I didn't know what I was doing, like my soul is not playing. It's like, look, we come here to experience this life the way that we were meant to experience it. And it's gonna look different from everybody. I've had moments where, like, I know things that my soul has shown me, and because I still didn't trust myself, or I still felt like, dang, man, I don't really know, you know, was I hearing that right? And then I'll see somebody else who I can see clearly they're moving in alignment, and they may be speaking on something that I have already experienced, that my soul has already revealed to me what it is. And then I'll be like, oh, well, maybe I heard that wrong. Or maybe that information that I got wasn't, accurate. And my soul will just gently say, hey, we've been down that rabbit hole before. We're not doing that. And I just come back to, I just come back to trusting me, saying, you know what, that person words is not, that person's word does not trump what my soul showed me. So I recognize that, oh, that soul is on a different path. That's not my soul family. So it's also recognizing that just how we have physical family, we have soul family. There's a group of souls who come to experience similar things. So coming into soul alignment is recognizing that also. Is not getting tossed by the wind of things of what your soul has already shown you, thinking that, oh, well, maybe I got it wrong. Because no, you got it right. Just stay your course. Stay on the path that was destined for you, whatever that looks like, and trust your process. Know that sometimes you may walk it alone, but there's always going to be somebody to come in and just show you and remind you that you're not alone. So I'm just, in a space where I'm just appreciating the journey and all that it has to teach me, and being willing to share my experience. So that is it for this episode. And I'm just learning how to be present and adjust accordingly with the tools that I have. So I didn't use my mic today because I've been getting some weird, like, static with the podcast mic, and then my other mic is not, like, one day I recorded and it just went out in the middle of the conversation. But I'm gonna end this now. Peace, love, and light. Y'all have a beautiful day.